Welcome to Illuminati Silver. We tell you the truth about silver. Today is Wednesday, the 7th of October, 2020, and we're providing a brief financial and markets update prior to the vice presidential debate due in a few hours' time, and after President Trump has now returned back to the White House from hospital. Well, what a week we've had so far. Not necessarily a profound one for precious metals, but certainly an interesting one involving US politics. Now, we won't go into the weeds of what has happened over the past few days, as we're sure everyone has seen the circumstances surrounding President Trump's return from hospital back to the White House. What will, though, we're sure, grab some attention will be the vice presidential debate to be held later this evening. Now, to be honest, we're looking forward to this one more than the first presidential debate, as we believe that Kamala Harris is quite sharp, and so is Mike Pence, and probably they'll allow each other to make their point, which we did not really see in the first debate. So hopefully it will be of some interest to see these two battle their wits against one another, regardless of which side of the political spectrum one may rest. Now, we were going to publish a video yesterday, especially as we saw gold prices jump to $1,920 and silver prices make a significant advance to $24.51, though both of these are well within the framework that we suggested in our weekly update last Saturday. But we have to admit, we didn't really think this gain was going to be sustainable, as it was challenging our calculations. But we didn't really want to say anything just in case we completely misjudged the situation, because at the moment volatility is so high because of the uncertainty prior to the election, such an error could easily occur. Well, looking at prices now, which is at 21.06 GMT plus 1, we can see that gold has in fact fallen back to $1,887, being as low as $1,873 earlier today. And so too has silver fallen to $23.79, having been as low as $23 earlier today. And we have to admit, we were very, very tempted to do a video earlier when that had happened, but again, we thought that the fall had been a little bit too low. It would have been very easy for us to say, you know what, we can see silver falling down to $22, but we thought not today. We didn't think it was going to happen today. Anyway, we're seeing these wide durations because, quite frankly, investors are knee-jerking virtually to every announcement, whether it be political or economic. Let's take a quick look at what Bloomberg actually published just a little over an hour ago. Bloomberg article dated October 6, 2020, but then updated October 7th, 2020 at 8:19 p.m. GMT plus 1. Headline: Stocks jump to more than month high. Yields climb. Stocks climbed to a more than 1 month high on renewed optimism that US lawmakers could still reach an agreement on additional stimulus. Treasuries and the dollar fell. The S&P 500 rose as much as 1.9% after a barrage of overnight tweets from President Donald Trump advocating a piecemeal approach. Trump sent stocks tumbling late Tuesday by ending talks with Democrats. Speaker Nancy Pelosi signaled openness to a standalone airline relief bill in a conversation with Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin on Wednesday. The seesaw we've seen since yesterday's plunge is just case in point for the volatility we may encounter as we close in on the election, said Chris Larkin, Managing Director of Trading and Investment Product at E-Trade Financial. That said, with President Trump's call for aid to airlines, an obviously hard-hit area of the market, traders may be eyeing bullish opportunities. Some investors who've watched Democratic challenger Joe Biden's lead in the polls swell in recent days are now speculating that a victory by him would bring an increase of federal spending to boost the economy. Biden leads among likely voters Florida, Iowa, Pennsylvania, Quinnipiac University polls found. Tech stocks also mostly rose even after a House panel's proposal late Tuesday for stricter antitrust rules to curb the power of Apple and Alphabet and Facebook and Amazon. The four tech giants account for more than 15% of the S&P 500. Eli Lilly & Co. gained after advances on its COVID-19 antibody drug. People are now talking again about this blue wave or election sweep by Democrats in Congress and the presidency, said Mark Odo, client portfolio manager at Swan Global Investments. The one thing we do need is a very clear-cut result coming out of this election. Minutes of the Federal Open Market Committee's September 15-16 meeting released Wednesday showed some U.S. central bankers sought further debate on the future of the Federal Reserve's asset purchase program when they met last month, signalling they'd be open to altering or increasing bond buying going forward. Meanwhile, with Trump now out of hospital, investors continue to monitor the virus's impact on economic recoveries around the world. Signs are mounting. The virus is returning to the New York area, with infections reaching 3 months highs. There is going to be heightened volatility, said Bryce Doty, Senior Portfolio Manager at CIT Investment Associates. You have an extraordinary amount of uncertainty between timing of vaccine, which will this current uptick in cases top out. Oil fell after US government data showed crude stockpiles increased and gold advanced. The European Commission, meantime, is close to a deal to procure more of the COVID-19 treatment remdesivir from Gilead Sciences, Inc. Here are some key events coming up. The U.S. vice presidential debate takes place in Salt Lake City on Wednesday. Some of the moves in the market, I shall go through these because we are close to the time of this actual article being written. The S&P 500 gained 1.9%. The Dow Jones increased 2.1%. The Nasdaq increased 2%. The Nasdaq 100 index climbed 2%. And the Stocks Europe 600 index fell 0.1%. The Bloomberg dollar spot index fell 0.2% to 1,171. The euro rose 0.3%. And the Japanese yen depreciated 0.4%. Yield on 10-year treasuries increased 5 basis points to 0.79%, the highest in almost 4 months. The yield on 30-year treasuries increased 6 basis points to 1.59%, the highest in 4 months. Germany's 10-year yield gained 1 basis point to minus 0.49%, the highest in almost 3 weeks. And Britain's 10-year yield rose 2 basis points to 0.303%, the highest in more than 5 weeks. We can see that West Texas Intermediate crude decreased by 1.6% to $40 a barrel. Gold strengthened 0.4% to $1,886 an ounce. We shall be updating that in a few minutes. And copper climbed 2.3% to $3.03 a pound, the highest in a week. That's the end of the Bloomberg article. Okay, a more up-to-date situation now is that whilst equity markets in the UK and Europe closed flat, US indices are generally up close to 2%. Now, the trade deficit figures announced yesterday were marginally worse for August compared with July, and so were job openings. Today's FOMC minutes, though, suggesting a degree of potential dovishness moving forward. We're frankly of the opinion that tomorrow's jobless claims figures will probably have more of an impact if they're significantly off expectations. What interests us, though, is that the general consensus of opinion amongst analysts currently, and this can change, is a growing confidence that a Biden presidency will result in a much larger spending boom than a Trump presidency will bring, which will benefit short-term, we emphasize this, short-term equity markets, but will give the dollar a potential hit. So those holding gold in particular, and silver potentially, should see a monetary demand gain should President Biden win the presidency. Now that said, there's still almost 4 weeks until Election Day, and who knows what announcements either of these candidates will make. That said, prices are still likely, in our view, to rise prior to the election simply because of the degree of uncertainty. But so too will volatility, and we cannot overemphasize this enough. So if you're a day trader, beware, because you could easily be caught out in these markets. Meanwhile, thank you so much for listening. Do share your thoughts if you haven't already done so. Please subscribe to our channel. Not forgetting to press the bell sign so you're notified of our videos as and when they are published. We hope you have found this video interesting and informative, and if so, please give it a thumbs up and share it on social media. Please ensure that you have subscribed to our channel and press the bell sign so that you are notified of any future videos. Also, kindly visit our website at illuminatisilver.com, and if you haven't already done so, please subscribe either as a free or paying member for regular email updates and offers. Disclaimer: Illuminati Silver owners come from a background of banking, international wealth management and economics. Having now retired from these worlds, we are not qualified to give investment advice. Therefore, this and other productions must not be deemed to be giving such advice and merely represent the personal views of its owners.